Are are we safe, Tom?
I don't know. Should I step down?
Should I step down?
I think if I who steps down first? I'd like to step down
Should
first.
we hold hands and do it at the same time?
Yes.
I mean, we've been doing this. Yeah, we've been doing it a while. Maybe we should just step down. Oh, hold on.
All right. All right.
Ah, look.
Look.
Nobody will ever know. We're really doing it.
That's it.
And we're stepping away from YouTube to go pursue television. Me, Tom, and
I thought we were doing radio.
Yeah, radio. Both of us faces for radio is what the kids say.
It's true.
I gotta go to the button.
I gotta push the button. It's
Dang
awkward
it.
now. Oh, baby. Oh, no. We
steer.
Went right through my hand. Oh, this is not a good day. You in the right direction. Welcome to another edition of the Grossi Perna Show. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. And this is G. A P. Are we just at that point? Let me ask you, are you at the point of like utter exhaustion? Like where it's just, or have you been able to get some reprieves?
I've been fairly good about balancing that all year, but the last week has kind of been exhausting. I was up late Monday. I was up late Monday night trying to finish winners and losers. Then I thought I was going to be ahead yesterday, and then the Tomlin thing happened, and then I cranked that video out. Will and I wrote it really quickly, edited it. And I'm like, this will be a short video. And then I'm in there, I'm like, fudge. It's like 16 plus minutes.
Yeah.
I was like, how did I used to make these 12 minutes? Like, I don't know.
We were young men back then.
Yeah, and I wasn't going to bother, Johnny or Connor. I was like, I just got to grind through this. And then you sit down, and you're like, I bet I can bang this out in an hour or two. And then it takes like 3.5 hours, and you realize you haven't moved that entire time.
Yep.
Your body's like, what are you doing to me? So yeah, I always forget. I tell myself that this week is the crazy week. There's always an unexpected firing. There's something you're not planning on. It's going to throw a wrench in your entire fucking week.
Sure.
I tell myself that. And then this time I'm like, it's not going to happen. This Tomlin thing, like, no, he's not leaving the Steelers ever. They will take that man out in a coffin.
Sure.
And then
technically they didn't fire him. They didn't fire him. He said, I'm peacing out. So yeah, it's I know it's an annoying thing to complain about. We get to talk about football and make silly videos about it, and it's awesome. But this week sucks. I hate this week. This week is a tough one. Coffee and I didn't see it, but I don't know how anyone watching that game could blame Jordan Love for anything. I mean, dude balled out in the first half and had 3 touchdowns. And while the offense couldn't move, the offensive line was hot diddly garbage and couldn't block for anything. They had no run game in the second half. And LaFleur's, he got super aggressive in that penultimate drive. And I think that's also what wound up costing them. But you also have drops. I mean, you had that Jay Reed drop. Love missed a couple of throws, but yeah, no, I'm not blaming the guy who threw 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, even like Romeo Doubs was very good. He was incredible in that game. He even had a second half drop that was uncharacteristic for him. And I forget exactly what situation that was, but I felt like there was 2 or 3 drops. Like, ooh. At the moment, you're like, not maybe the Jaden Reed one was in the moment. You're like, oh boy. Sure. The other 2, you're like, oh, they could have really used that. Hope that doesn't come back to bite him in the tuchus. And it did.
The tuchus was bit.
Yeah. Johnny got mad that I didn't give Jordan Love the Dak Prescott award, which goes to the quarterback that no matter what he does, his team lets him down. And originally I had that for Love. And then I talked about Love and the Packers and the Bears. I did a full video on it. So I kind of wanted to like change it up for winners and losers. But he texted me, I think it was Monday, just bitter.
This is very true. Yeah, everyone should be rushing to hire, Rich Bisaccia. He should be the hottest head coaching prospect in all the land.
Dude, and that's what I was saying. I tried to say in the Tomlin video. Maybe I didn't articulate it correctly, but because there's so many openings right now, there's going to be somebody who gets a job who's probably not cut out for the gig. And this morning, the Cardinals are like, could we interview Arthur Smith for our head coaching position? I was like, oh, fuck, no, not, don't do that to the Cards.
You saw their offense and we're like, that's what I want.
Yeah, I was like, oh, man. And I like Arthur Smith. I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't think he's the worst offensive coordinator out there. That's Kevin Patullo. He's gone. But like, holy shit, dude, if your team's interviewing Arthur Smith, the Titans requested to interview him. I feel like the Titans and Cardinals are like, oh God, nobody's going to want our jobs. We got to make some calls.
God, I hope the Titans get somebody good. I hope they do. Because at least they have like who you think is going to be the quarterback. The Cardinals, they're a hot mess right now. But yeah, so I said it yesterday that because there's a lot of these veteran coaches now that are available too, maybe you're going to see one of the guys that we've talked about, right, not get a job this coaching cycle because they will go for a guy who has like a ton of experience and is more of like a veteran coach. We'll see what happens with Tomlin, right? The last that I heard that he was likely not going to coach this upcoming year. So we'll kind of see.
Yeah, he's not.
Yeah, I don't know. That's not. But Harbaugh has an in-person interview with the Giants. So who knows if he's even going to be able to leave the building? They might be.
We'll Harbaugh. I think Harbaugh will leave the building.
I think so too.
But the Giants, I think you're right. I think the Giants are going to do everything in their power to make sure he doesn't.
Dolphins going to try, I think.
Yeah, the only scheduled interviews he has are the Giants, the Falcons, and what was the other one? The first three, the Dolphins weren't even on the list.
They weren't on there. Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of interesting for John Harbaugh because we all assumed that would be a hot spot for him. Who was the other team? I can't, dude. Trying to remember 9 vacancies. Every time I forget like 1 or 2 teams. And that's not even the most. 2022 had the most head coaching vacancies, which was 10. That was the year the Broncos got Nathaniel Hackett.
I remember that. Yeah, but he was the hottest one like at the time. And it was like, oh man, like this guy, because the gold zone, what he was able to do in Green Bay. And
I know. And I wanted it to, I like Hackett.
Music in your ears.
He was my guy. Yeah. This goofy, weird son of a bitch. Like
records.
I love a goofball.
Like just the records.
I've really enjoyed making love to your ears. I think that you have beautiful ears. They fit very nicely. So I would say it'd be an erotic.
God.
He was in the booth on Saturday night to watch the Packers get destroyed.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. So that's what they say.
Wow. There we go.
There's a few things that I want to talk about today. We'll start with Mike Tomlin because obviously that's the big news coming out of yesterday. But I want to talk about a couple
things. Give
it
5 minutes.
Yeah. I want to talk about Sean Payton and just like that little. I saw you posted that. Yeah. And I giggled at that because I think the juxtaposition between that and what we were talking about with the Jaguars reporter earlier, I think that was just perfection.
You're right, and even the Aaron Rodgers press conference too.
Yeah, 100%.
We had the reporter give Liam Cohen some love, right? Yeah. We talked about it Monday. It's like, hey, great season. Keep your head up. And then we touched on the fact that there were a lot of other reporters out there going like, this is unprofessional. You cannot do this. And I think Tom and I are like, it's a sports ball game. You're talking about football. And I get journalistic integrity. And sports needs it too. But it's a football game.
But it's also
you can have one kind moment, one fun moment.
One. And it would be different if, because there's the other thing I do want to talk about is that press conference with the Ravens owner. Because that did you watch the full hour? Because I saw some clips and I watched like the first 25 minutes, like as I went to bed, and I was like, this is actually really refreshing to hear. Like, I do want to talk about that too, because it was a great press conference.
He was honest.
But exactly. That's why I was just like, is this the truth? I was like, this feels weird. I feel like this doesn't come out very often.
Biscotti.
Yeah, I don't know about that. So I do want to talk about that. But in terms of some of the questions we saw from journalists were, after all this crap, after going after like a community reporter who has been doing this for a long time because they decided to be nice to Liam Cohen, right? And people are like, this is why you don't let First of all, she is a journalist. Second of all, right, like, most importantly, they didn't just let some random ass fan in there and just be like, can you be really nice to Liam Cohen? That's not what happened.
Because the fan probably wouldn't have been. They'd been like, you broke my heart, Liam.
How dare you? That. And then it's like you get that followed up by some of the most dumbass questions that happened the same week when they're asking Aaron Rodgers, hey, what was that decision of why you didn't play on that final drive? And Rodgers goes, it was 30-6.
And then they follow it up like with they're just trying to get the guy to say something stupid.
Yeah.
That's what's annoying about it. That's what's annoying about like the critiques of it. What do you mean? Why didn't you go out there? There was so I could take another hit for no reason?
Did you
so I
guys
could throw
see that
another
defense?
pick six? What do you want from me?
Yeah.
And I think the worst, like the Aaron Rodgers press conference was really bad in terms of like the questions he was getting, because they asked him about Tomlin and the hot seat and all that stuff. And he had a really good answer about Matt LaFleur and Mike Tomlin. And he's like, the fact that we're talking about those two coaches being on the hot seat is just ridiculous. It shows where the state of the game is. And he wasn't 100% accurate, but I agreed with most of what he's saying in that situation and actually side with him there. So he gave a good answer about Mike Tomlin. And then they asked him another question about Mike Tomlin. And this is what he said. And this was after everybody gave the Liam Cohen question shit.
From being with Mike for a season about him.
I mean, I've answered that a number of times. I've talked extensively about how I feel about Mike. And I just did in that fucking answer, so thanks.
All right.
Just when I thought I was out, you pull me back in, Rodgers. You're my favorite quarterback again.
I just said this. I just said that. You were in the room when it happened, when I said it.
Yeah. He needed to be a dick in that moment. So thank you, Aaron.
That was the most frustrated teacher energy I've ever seen from Aaron Rodgers, just being like, I don't know what to do with you.
Yes.
Dark Lord, they should be wide open. And I mean wide open. I might be going to kick for the Packers.
Yeah, that's going to go down. That's going to be top 10 all time in my memory bank of answers for.
I do want to talk about Tomlin. First of all, I do think that I agree with you that it was a bit of a surprise in terms that something actually changed, right? And you compare this, and we will talk about it, when the Ravens owner was asked about Jim Harbaugh, when they were like, hey, if Tyler Loop makes that kick, would he have still been employed? And he goes, for another week.
Yeah.
Which was
yeah.
Okay.
He made that decision. That was a decision already made in his mind.
It was the first 30 minutes. And again, I highly recommend this. It is a fascinating press. I only got for the first 25, 30 minutes. I will be listening to the rest of it today. Go on YouTube, type in Ravens owner, Steve Biscotti. You'll see the interview there, or the press conference that he gave. It is just an hour of him just being really blunt, but he's kind about it, but he's also very honest and just hey, this is how I feel. But in terms of Tomlin, it was all right, they won their division again. Yeah, they won 10 games, but it's another wild card exit, right? He tied Marvin Lewis now for 7 consecutive playoff losses. But I still don't think that's going to be enough for them to move on, because that's just the Steelers' way, right? That they don't get rid of these guys. It is similar to the Packers. And then the fact that he stepped down was oh, damn.
Yeah.
You know, you have Rodgers coming out and speaking for him, Cam Hayward coming out and speaking for him. And I know Tree will be like, these guys are the problem, right? Because they're stuck back from where it was 10 years ago. But for him to step down it feels like I don't need this.
Yeah,
right?
it's a lot.
It felt like you want to kick his fine, bye.
There's I think we kind of forget the toll it takes to be a head coach in the NFL. Yeah. I've put it all on the line.
What'd you do?
Well, I'd already had if we reached a certain number of signups for my my sponsor, Tom.
Okay.
I was going to go to the Mahomes Kelsey restaurant in Kansas City. I was going to go to the restaurant, spend a stupid amount of money. I'll bring the TGS guys. I'll meet Cole there. I'll go into the enemy's territory. Now with all this Uma Masume, I will attend my dinner dressed as a Broncos Uma Sume character at that dinner. If and only if we reach my sign-up goal. So, am I doing it for selfish financial gain? Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
Also for your entertainment. So, I mean, imagine me dressed as a horse girl eating a $16 mashed potatoes.
I can see it. I see it in my mind's eye.
Just order mashed potatoes there.
Yeah, can I get it in a trough?
I'll take $1,000 worth of mashed potatoes.
If you just get it in a trough and you just eat it. I mean, I think I could eat it. There'll be a time. So yes, I thought it felt like okay, fine. I don't need this anymore. The game's changed. Rodgers alluded to it. And him stepping down means the Steelers still have his rights too. So if he wanted to go coach somewhere, it would be like a Sean Payton kind of situation where the Steelers would trade him. Right?
Yeah.
They'd be like, okay, then you could go and coach for whatever team you want.
I think there's a lot to unpack with Tomlin stepping away. I think just getting away from the game for a year, I think that's going to make Mike Tomlin's decision in terms of let's say next October he's doing TV and he's just this is there's not enough pressure here. I want to be out coaching games. I want to be in the locker room with players, with other coaches. And that's what Mike Tomlin was great at, right? He was a guy players liked playing for. They played hard for Mike Tomlin. Also a guy coaches liked coaching for. So you've got somebody that, people want to be around. Mm-hmm. And Steelers fans can be annoyed at the fact that they've been 10-7 the last 3 seasons and they lose in the playoffs. But that's an impressive accomplishment.
Sure.
And the Steelers, like a lot of other organizations, once Ben Roethlisberger retired, could not solve their quarterback vacancy, their hole there. And we pretend like it's easy to replace a freaking fringe Hall of Fame QB, whatever you want to call Big Ben. I think he's a Hall of Famer. I think that'll happen. You don't just replace that. I think the bigger question, if you're a Steelers fan, is how are they going to actually rebuild and retool the team? And you then have to understand, was it Mike Tomlin holding the team back in terms of rebuilding, in terms of stripping it down, or is that above him? Is that your general manager and how they make decisions to shape the roster? And you just look back at this last draft, they were in a spot to take Jackson Dart and they went defensive line. And they took a great story, a guy who played very well for them this last season, but you needed a quarterback. They didn't think they needed a quarterback because they went in on Aaron Rodgers. So that's what, outside of obviously filling the role for Tomlin, it's how are they going to change their approach to building their team?
Yeah. Real quick. Yeah. Thank God. So KTO got his channel completely scrubbed because of, it is reinstated.
You got it back.
So I literally just came across that this morning. That's good. Can you imagine? You just show up, you're like, oh yeah, my channel's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a big channel.
Great job, YouTube. Dude, he's at 750,000 subs?
If that can happen to him, it can happen to anyone.
That's right. Get rid of your AI garbage, YouTube.
It'd be funny if it happened to Pat McAfee.
Might call the
Just
president
for
to get that
24
fixed.
hours. I want him to get it back. But
not watch
imagine the McAfee channel just disappears because of AI, huh? Then maybe YouTube will be like, this is actually a problem. Let's fix this.
Hey guys, maybe we should actually, have people review this. I don't know. It's crazy. But thankfully, it's going to be involved in the military. So in terms of Tomlin, the problem is like, and this is where I've stood with Tomlin for a while. I think he's a great head coach.
Yeah.
I think he's a very good head coach that has dragged a lot of rosters to somehow get a winning record, right? Without their franchise QB, because you're 100% correct. After Big Bet, they never replaced, they never got their franchise guy again, right? It was Kenny Pickett. They threw around Mason Rudolph for a while, but they've been going around this QB carousel because the unfortunate side is, and you do get a little bit punished. The worst thing, Brandon, as we have said for years, that you could be in the NFL is average.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're picking in the middle of the first round, which is too late to go get your franchise quarterback unless you're making this huge move to trade up. And so because of that, they were never in a position to go and get that guy. You did mention they could have gotten Jackson Dart, right?
They could have.
I guess they did not believe in him enough, right? They're like, he wasn't high enough on their draft board, which then you can look at the GM and you kind of got to go all right, it's how you're constructing the roster.
Did they even study quarterbacks in the offseason?
I don't even know. But I think that the way, you're going to get punished for that success. And it's very impressive that he was able to do that. But I do agree. Tree has talked about this. I think they just need to tear it down to the studs a little bit.
Yeah.
Them going out and getting Aaron Rodgers is the ultimate definition of that's a stopgap, man. That's patchwork, because you have them for one season. And then after that season, what are you doing at quarterback?
Yeah.
Right? Because now you're in the same exact position. They won 10 games. They won the division. They lost again in the wild card. And you're going to be in a very similar situation where you're going to be picking in the first round. And it's like, oh, crap. And now we're not going to have Mike Tomlin. It just feels like they have to suck.
Yeah.
But they also, the thing that's confusing is they go and make a big time trade for DK Metcalf, right? They obviously get rid of George Pickens, but they go and get DK Metcalf. Now they don't really have anybody to throw them the ball. And they went out and got Jalen Ramsey, which is okay, he's getting older too. And it just feels like the roster, it didn't look like they were going to be competing for a Super Bowl this year. It was going to be very difficult for them to go win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But they were making moves like they were a couple pieces away.
They went all in for their best outcome to be a single playoff victory. They put all their chips on the table for one dog to rule them all. DK also had a bad drop in that Texans game. And I think because they got their asses kicked so thoroughly on Monday night. And the problem with that is you brought in Aaron Rodgers and his experience to specifically, I think, mitigate that type of game. Mm-hmm. Rodgers isn't who he used to be, but you're we're going to bring Aaron Rodgers because when we play a team like the Texans, he's going to be able to make his adjustments at the line, put the team in the best chance to succeed, and get some offensive production.
Sure.
When a young quarterback would have crumbled in that situation.
Yeah.
Turns out he and that offense just crumbled regardless.
Correct.
Which is, why the Cardinals need Arthur Smith.
Of course. I mean, you saw how good that offense was. Yeah. Well, the problem is too, right? You're going up against an elite defense because the Texans, I know we didn't even talk about the Monday game because we haven't seen each other, but right. That game is competitive for 3 quarters. The Texans constantly shoot themselves in the foot because they can't stop turning the ball over. Good God, the amount of fumbles that CJ Stroud had and then totally panicked and threw an interception in the red zone. It was an ugly game for that Texans offense, but then their defense was okay, we're done now. Strip sack for a touchdown, pick 6, right? It could be Aaron Rodgers' last throw as an NFL quarterback. And
why didn't you go back in the game?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, why don't you go back in the game? It's just, I don't know it's honestly, it reminds me when the Titans decided to randomly sign DeAndre Hopkins a couple years ago. And it was like, do you guys think like you're one wide receiver away, like to go and compete? It just feels like they were doing that. The roster construction is, I mean, their defense is insanely expensive, dude. And they are just not getting the results like the Texans defense is getting, right? Yeah. And if you're putting that amount of money into that defense, which is supposed to be the strength of your team, that ain't it. Like Aaron Rodgers, like the only team that makes sense for him to go to at this point in his career is the Vikings, right? Because it's like, okay, you have the wide receivers that are there. You have this incredible defense. The Steelers don't have that incredible defense. They have a good defense, but they don't have that incredible defense. They don't have the star makers on that offense. And
Aaron Rodgers bringing Adam Thielen with him back to the Vikings.
God, yeah, the prophecy will eventually come to fruition.
Umasume. The other issue too, if you're going back, if I go back to that quarterback situation for the Steelers, we said Dart, but also Tyler Shuck, Tyler Shuck, because they did. I keep forgetting the Steelers did draft a quarterback. His name is Will Howard. They got Will Howard on the roster, and there might be something there. But right now, they had a chance. They could have taken two guys who looked very good this year. And honestly, Tyler Shuck's probably a better option in terms of, the way the Steelers typically, like to play football. But anyway, they missed there. And now it's the question becomes who's going to be the head coach that comes in and fills the void left by Mike Tomlin. So
this is actually there's collusion that's going on. The fact that there are teams that are asking to interview Arthur Smith are going to pressure the Steelers into making Arthur Smith their new head coach.
Yeah.
And you'll just see Steelers fans just take a long walk off a short pier because that would be tough. But yeah, I don't know. I think the Steelers, they have not sucked for a while. And it just feels like they need to suck with the caveat that they're able to draft well due to the suckage, right? Like, because if they do all this and they start tanking and they start like playing some really bad football, which without Mike Tomlin, I think they're going to start playing some really bad football unless Will Howard is the guy. Then they have to be able to take advantage of that. It's the same thing as the Jets, man. The Jets are a freaking mess, but they have a ton of draft picks, right? Yeah. So it's like, okay, it's great in theory that you have all this draft capital, but you got to hit on these picks. And do you have the front office? Do you have the leadership that is going to give you the confidence to go out and get those guys?
Yeah. Pittsburgh, I don't think they do. And the Texans, like you look at the Texans defense, that is primarily built through the draft.
Yes.
They got Danielle Hunter in there, was a big free agent. But like Will Anderson, they made an aggressive move to get Will Anderson. Stingley, Lassiter. They built so much through the draft. And I think like people talk about you got to build your team through the draft. You can't win through like you can do it multiple ways. You just got to be right on all of those. And the Steelers, it just feels like they have not been right on all of those for a while. And you were saying the Steelers needed to suck, Tom?
Yeah.
I agree.
Steelers really need to just fucking suck for a year. Fucking suck. Suck and fuck, Pittsburgh. You gotta fucking suck. You gotta suck and fucking suck if you want to re-blossom into a new promising franchise, Pittsburgh.
We're on the same page, and we said it exactly the same way.
The exact same way. Yeah. Also, this is objectively the most hilarious thing. The fact that 3 coaches in the AFC North are out and the only one left standing is Zach Taylor. And Bengals fans are like, are you kidding me? Like, how did this happen, right? You have 2 of the longest tenured coaches in the NFL. They're gone. But Zach Taylor is still there. And the Bengals are like, if the Bengals do not win the AFC North next season, fire everyone in that front office.
Because, if I'm Tomlin, I call the Bengals right now, and I say, I will come back. I will tell the Rooneys to trade me to Cincinnati. You just got to fire Zach. Like Mike Tomlin would be a great coach for the Bengals. Get that defense playing a little bit better. Just let Joe Burrow do his thing.
They're playing better near the end of the season.
Yeah.
There you go. Go, Tomlin. You're one step away. Dude, can you imagine Mike Tomlin goes to the Bengals and wins a Super Bowl? Oh my God.
Dude, and I don't think Mike Tomlin retires if he won a Super Bowl within like the last 5 years.
Yeah, I don't know.
Winning, like if you win, you get to that big game and you win, you're just like, yeah, I'm going to keep doing this forever because it's awesome.
Keep chasing that high.
I got Mahomes. This is easy.
Yeah, exactly. Andy, I haven't seen anything about Andy Reid confirming that, but he is now the longest tenured coach in the NFL.
Yeah.
So
yeah, watching Harbaugh and Tomlin go the same offseason, it's wild. But within the framework of this season, it just feels like it was supposed to happen and normal.
Yeah.
I mean, like
maybe
nothing's going to talk Phillip Rivers coming out of retirement at age 44 for a 3-game stretch. Nothing's going to top that.
Phillip Rivers, the new head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, that would be kind of sick. He would be there for 10 years before they even thought about firing him, too.
Honestly, and he could have a monarchy there, man.
He would have 30 children before the Steelers fired him. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
The Rooneys have become the Rivers somehow.
That's it.
He just drowned the Rooneys out.
He's like, we have more of us. Yeah, so we'll see what happens with Tomlin, man. Like I said, he said, right, it doesn't look like he's going to be coaching this upcoming season. And we'll kind of see what his future is going to look like.
Who do you think's the next guy? Who do you think they're going to go after, Tom?
The Steelers?
Yeah. You get one. You can fill the vacancy. Who are you filling it with?
I mean, the funniest one would be Mike McCarthy. Pittsburgh guy would be Mike McCarthy. But I don't think he's
forgetting about McCarthy, dude. I forget he's in the mix.
I don't think that he's the fit there, though. I think he would do better on like a Titans or something like that.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if you are, all right, so here's the thing. If you're the Steelers, I think you take a shot on like a young coach who is like, okay, go in there, because if you suck for a few seasons, it's all good, man. Like, grind your teeth, try to build this roster, go and get your guys. Like, go and get like a Texans DC, a Rams OC, kind of give a first-time guy a shot. Yeah, I don't think you go for a veteran.
We should run the Steelers, Tom. My two suggestions were Clint Kubiak from Seattle or Davis Webb from the Broncos. And I think the Steelers should go offense. I think they should go offensive-minded guy. I think they need that. And those are two young guys, but I think those are two seasoned young guys. Davis Webb, also, his first NFL throw as a New York Giant came against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Feels like there's a little bit of magic in the air. Now, the other, if it's not one of those guys, the most perfect Mike Tomlin replacement is Brian Flores. Where'd Tomlin come from the year before? He was the Vikings defensive coordinator and then went over to Pittsburgh. They just do the same thing again. They take the Vikings defensive coordinator. Brian Flores could talk shit about the next 12 Pittsburgh Steelers quarterbacks, and he's going to keep that job. Yeah, because he's the right guy for that defense. Like,
defense, yep.
But if you want to go that route, because then you're going to be in the perpetual hell that is find the right offensive coordinator. Then when you find the right offensive coordinator, he's going to be the hottest head coaching candidate the following offseason. So I don't know what they do, but I like young and I like offense for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's very, very true.
Okay, so Tom,
we did not. We mentioned Will Howard. Sorry, we're behind. But yeah, no, we mentioned Will Howard.
I did forget about Will Howard.
You guys see if he's the guy, and that's, if Will Howard just comes out and lights it up, then it's like, okay, then maybe this is not going to be too bad. But,
yeah, we forgot about Riley Leonard too. The Colts took him. Those were two guys that went late, and they were guys who had success in college, but nobody could really say like, yeah, it's all like they're a franchise guy. That's why they went later.
Yeah. But he's a big unknown right now. You don't know what he's like in the NFL. So
yeah, I think and if Will Howard turns out to be great, then what a draft pick.
Oh man, then Tomlin's gonna be like, I'll come back.
Yeah, but nobody was like, yeah, Will Howard's gonna learn under Aaron Rodgers. He's the future. We're gonna usher him in. It's why they went to Mason Rudolph when Rodgers couldn't play.
Yeah. Mac, it's a good question. Yeah, I can't imagine there are going to be too many situations that are going to line up where they want Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Rodgers wants to play there, because those are two very different things, right? So there might be some teams that are like, hey, we're in this weird QB transition. Sure, we'll bring in Aaron Rodgers, but I don't think that Aaron Rodgers is going to go to a team that is rebuilding, right? I mean, because like he's going to be there for a year or two at most. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think he's going to go to the Vikings, but like that would be a team that makes a lot of sense, right? There would be if you don't believe in Michael Penix, this one will definitely work out, right? Sorry, Kirk Cousins, even though we're going to keep you on the roster too. But like that would be a team that's competing, but I don't think he is going to put them over the top, because like Aaron Rodgers, like he still had some good throws, don't get me wrong, against the Texans, but he's just, that consistency is just not there. And like for you need a significant supporting staff. Like Minnesota makes sense because if Jordan Addison can stop getting locked up, right? You have him, you have Justin Jefferson, right? And you have that really damn good defense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think there's a lot of spots in the NFL that would fit perfectly for Rodgers. So if that doesn't happen, I think he's retiring.
Yeah, but when Brian Flores leaves Minnesota, I don't know if that defense is going to be as good. You know what I'm saying?
I don't either. Yeah.
That's a little bit of a factor there. And another great moment Aaron Rodgers had was when he was talking about his decision this offseason. This was like a couple of weeks ago. And they're like, are you going to retire? Are you going to come back to the Steelers? And he's like, well, I'm on a 1-year contract. I'll reevaluate everything this offseason like I always do. He goes, I'll have a lot of options to go and play where he goes, well, I should have a couple options. He's like, I don't know about a lot anymore. And I was like, yeah, that's true. You might have like 2. Yeah. There might be 2 situations that make sense for Rodgers. It feels like, I don't think he's, there's probably a few quarterbacks, he's still better than, but physically just doesn't feel the same for him anymore.
Yeah.
Especially late in the season, like the Steelers had some gutsy wins late, but then this last week against a tough playoff team, it was not working.
Listen, Ravens fourth quarter, he turned it on, man. He turned it on. We did not see that. And again, like you said, going up against a really good defense.
Yeah. The Ravens was just like, they were the underperforming all year.
And you know what though, dude? Like, because the important thing is like the Steelers defense for 3 quarters played that game really well.
Yeah, they did.
They forced those turnovers. So like while we're talking about, Rodgers needs a defense and all that stuff, he had a defense for 3 quarters that was constantly generating turnovers, but then they just could not move the ball. Like at all. That first drive when they were handing it off, I was like, oh damn, like maybe they're going to establish the run game against this team. And then just nope.
And I think 99% of NFL quarterbacks struggle in that game against Houston, right? Absolutely. Their defense was that good. Now, Rodgers, there was a play in this game where he threw it downfield. It was incomplete. And was it Aikman and Buck on the call for that game? I think
so, yeah.
And Aikman was like, there's younger Rodgers. You see him just tuck the ball and take off and pick up the first down there with his legs.
Yep.
And he's like, he's not about that anymore. He's gonna take the shot there, and he doesn't connect. And I think like when I think about a quarterback who might have had success in that game, it's a guy who is young and is really good and can pick up some of those first downs with their legs to keep drives going. And like a defense that's as good as Houston, you have to be able to do that.
Look at Drake Maye.
Houston gave Josh Allen fit this year, right?
Oh, yeah.
It was not pretty for Josh Allen. So we can be critical of Rodgers in that game, but I don't know who's going to succeed in that game.
Dude, like I think the Texans-Patriots game is one of the most fascinating of the weekend, right?
Is.
Because both O-lines are probably going to allow a ton of pressure. Drake Maye is going to be running for his life, but as we saw in the Chargers game, he can run. I mean, some of the biggest plays was him on the ground. I mean, he was their leading rusher. So
Drake Maye he's a better quarterback right now than CJ Stroud, and I think that'll be that game. But
it's gonna be a great game though.
Holy Stroud sucked. Stroud fucking blew for 3 quarters, dude. It's
and
like
now
some
Nico
of the worst
Collins
football
out.
we've watched CJ play, and he got the win.
Rough. It was rough. Gold coin. Yeah, it's a good question. So I did watch a good chunk of it. It was like 25, 30 minutes. The whole thing's an hour. But the Biscotti conference, again, highly recommend just as a football fan. If you want to go and watch it's a really good listen from a billionaire owner who came out of hibernation. He's like, yeah, we never really do these because the last time that they hired a new head coach was 18 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. But he had some really interesting sound bites. I'll let you play this and then I'll talk about some of the stuff I listened to.
Let's see if we can hear it first.
I mean, we may be doing Jupiter in April for all I know. And Eric's going to go, I ain't got time for that. It's the draft. She's in for
Mike Tomlin stepped down at Pittsburgh.
He did? Is it official?
That's what I keep hearing. So is he a candidate here?
Holy shit, Mike. Wouldn't that be awesome? So I think it works, even though I work remotely. Started long before COVID. I invented working remotely. I said to Lamar last night, when they call me up from Florida, you better get your ass up here too. I mean, we may be doing Jupiter in April for all.
Okay, I didn't know which ones those were.
And Eric's going to go.
So the one after that Tomlin comment, he was like, but John's got to go over and coach the Steelers. I was like, yes, thank you.
He gets it. He gets it. So he is a retired billionaire, right? Who this is, all right, we fired our coach. I gotta, all right, let's go out and do this, right? Put on. So there was a few things that happened just within the first 30 minutes. One, he was asked about John Harbaugh, of course, and when the decision was to fire him, and also talked about doing it over the phone because that was a thing too. So that got some coverage earlier this week that John Harbaugh was fired over the phone after leaving the team facility. And he comes out and he goes, yeah, that's 100% true. He goes, I called him because I don't want to make his ass come back into work. He's just I don't want him to have to drive back in and be like, hey, meet me here in an hour. So he called him and he was like, hey, listen, it's not working out anymore. And apparently Harbaugh was the one consoling him. And he's like, you don't got to apologize for anything. He's like, you gave me 18 years. You changed the trajectory of my life. I would also love if none of this happened and he's just making this up. That would have been fantastic.
That's not how it went.
Harbaugh was just like, you son of a bitch. And he's just he was so complimentary. And then he called him again on Thursday. And then he got into more of the details as to why. But he goes, I talked to Lamar Jackson. He's like, I talked to the veterans in this player. And he goes, Lamar Jackson is one of the most non-confrontational people ever. And Jackson was like, people say I have a problem with Monken. I don't have a problem with him. People are saying I have a problem with Harbaugh. I don't have a problem with him. I don't know where this stuff is coming from. And it came together where he was thinking about it before. He came out to the decision on Monday night, and just all right, this is where I want things to be. And he made the comment too, it would have been for another week, but it seemed like he just was brutally honest. And it goes, if you look back at where we were, what led the league in blown fourth quarters, right? Packers fans, do you hear that? All the people who are hoping LaFleur gets fired for Harbaugh, do you hear that from the ownership? Anyway, so there's that. But then it's also just, man, we hadn't been back to a Super Bowl. There was folks even that said we were the best team in the league. We underachieved because we weren't able to get back there.
Yeah.
And it was just time to make a change.
Yeah, we do. We put a lot on coaches when there are some very obvious things that also go wrong with teams and the Packers are a good example of that with Micah and his injury. I think the Ravens this year, though, they brought back a very similar roster, right? And they just underachieved. And I think that's what helps make a decision like that. And when asked about when he actually made this decision, Biscotti said, well, I actually made this decision 17 years ago. I got around to it now because I work remotely. So, yeah, the Ravens, it feels, it's a tough decision. They needed a change. The Steelers needed a change. And we'll see what happens after this. And the good thing about I think the Ravens' job is more attractive than the Steelers' job based on the roster, but the Steelers' job is going to be very appealing because of the job security that traditionally comes with that head coaching spot. If the Broncos do lose Vance Joseph, I'm okay with that. I want Vance to get another shot if teams think he's ready. I know, like, the defensive players love Vance Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
I think, it didn't work out in Denver with him, but I think enough time's passed. If he truly wants to be a head coach, I hope he gets that opportunity. And I think Denver will, they'll find a good defensive coordinator to replace him. So I'm not too worried about that. We need to beat the Bills first, like, before I start thinking about that shit.
Sure.
But good. If you get the opportunity to go coach Lamar Jackson, that's awesome. Steelers are like, okay, we got to figure out some other things, but I've got time to figure it out. What other head coach is going to be afforded that luxury right now?
Yeah.
I don't even think John Harbaugh, if he takes that Giants job, is going to get that same sort of grace. Like, if they're losing 3 years from now, he's going to be fired again.
Well, and so that was interesting too. So they asked Biscotti, they go, okay, in terms of, because Biscotti gave like a warning. He was like, hey, if I go and hire a coach, right, that has a losing record, yeah, I know you're going to give me a ton of crap in this room, right? But I'm also looking at guys who were hired 5-6 years ago, like in that coaching cycle, and they had to go to like rough jobs and they had to grind their teeth. And so, like, I don't want to hear it. He goes, the last guy I hired was here for 18 years. So I think you could give me a little bit of grace. And I was like, that's a fair point. That's a fair point, right? And me just like, oh, all right. But he also mentioned just the structure of the team and waiting, because they asked him, how long would you wait? How long would you give them? He goes, listen, man, like, I want to win a couple Super Bowls, and then, like, I want to be out of here. He's like, I want to be done. He goes, I look around the league, and he goes, all these guys, who are younger than I was, like, they're old now. Like, we're all old. He goes, I decided 25 years ago, I'm not passing the team down to my family. He goes, so I'm hoping in 10 years we win a couple, and then I ride off into the sunset, and that's it. He goes, that could change if we have like really bad back-to-back seasons. And I go, all right, like, I'm done with this. But he goes, if they win one and I'm 75, I'll stay around until I'm 76. Like, just like very candid. But This is a guy who just seems like he wants it within 10 years to win, ride off into the sunset, and go do whatever the hell he wants. Like, dude, he was even talking about Harbaugh, because Harbaugh's what, 62, 63 now?
Yeah.
Like, he's an older dude. He goes, man, you should take a year off. Take a year off with your wife. He's like, you're empty nesters. Just go out and travel, because traveling now is a lot different than traveling at 75. Like, it was just a very, like, candid, like, damn, okay, like, that's respect, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's refreshing. The interesting thing for a head coach is that's probably the kind of owner you want to go and work under too. You know what I mean? Like, I think that adds just another layer of why a coach might want to go and take on that job. But it's going to be like, the next few months are going to be the next couple weeks are going to be fascinating.
Yes.
Normally you see a couple of the head coaching roles get filled pretty quickly. And there might be one or two where that happens now, but it feels like this is going to take a little longer than normal. Mm-hmm. And that's because they're just prestigious openings. There are two prestigious openings, and that's Ravens Steelers. And then there are intriguing openings. Atlanta, the Giants, even Miami's kind of intriguing. It's not the best situation, but I don't know, man. It's crazy. And we haven't got to it yet.
Sorry,
but
Biscotti.
I did want to play this before we forget.
Not Biscotti, Biscotti. Apologies.
It's Biscotti. I think it's Biscotti.
I would love to be Biscotti.
As an Italian man who's eaten plenty of biscotti,
Just
that looks like Biscotti to me. I think he's pronouncing it wrong.
Sean, having Greenlaw back for this game, his ability to attack downhill in the run game, just how big is that and the timing of it for this one?
You want him to attack downhill? Is that your, like, what do you know about attacking downhill in the run game? You don't know. All right, that's right. But have him attacking downhill. It's good to have a healthy Dre Greenlaw back in the game. Yeah.
Their quarterback.
Yes, that's my coach, motherfuckers. That's my coach. It's my coach.
We
love him.
There's a couple of things that I feel about that clip, right? There's a couple things. One, again, yeah, Biscotti. Sorry. Apologies.
I think it's Biscotti, guys.
Biscotti.
I'm making Tom dumber. Every time he does a show with me, Tom loses just a fraction of his intelligence.
There's not much left now. At the end of the season, it's pretty much all gone. It's leaked out.
Especially with grammatical errors.
There. That's fair. That's very, very fair. Two things I feel about that. One, again, when you're comparing that to the Jaguars clip, I think it's just really damn funny.
Yeah.
Two, I think also Sean Payton looks like he's pretty focused.
Yeah.
Right? And again, like they wound up laughing it off afterwards too. Like this is not like incredibly serious of like, oh my God, how dare he? But it did make me think of how many coaches who are so entrenched in football and have so much football knowledge and then have to go answer these dumbass questions and are like, okay, sure. Yeah, let's play this game. You know just as much as I do. And just like explain football and simplify it. It just like that. I know like you joked about it afterwards, but there seemed to be like a decent, like at least a hint of you don't know things.
Yeah.
You don't even know what you don't know.
It's like if they have that relationship, and from what I've gathered, like he likes to give Luca Evans, who's a reporter at the Denver Post, which, if you don't know, I was on the front page of one of their papers. He is a reporter at the Denver Post, and apparently they kind of have this banter. So that's a part of it, like a lot of people aren't going to see. And that's a hard thing to explain to people about Sean Payton, because if you just look at that clip, he comes off as a dick.
Well, he is.
And he is also a dick.
Yeah. I mean, he is,
sometimes
right? Like
he's being a dick in a fun way. Sometimes he's not, and you just never really know with him. And I know Sean Payton, and when I first saw that, I was like, oh, fuck. He's being an asshole for no reason. So, yeah, that's just kind of like, what I forget what we were talking about earlier in the year. It was one of his, I think it was the Jaguars, like, small market team.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think he meant it. I think he meant it in terms of, like, they're not getting the coverage of other teams. But the way Sean says it, you're like, he's just being a dick.
Yeah.
I've accepted that in my heart about Sean Payton.
Because you don't care. You're like,
no, I don't
this
care.
dick can take me to the Super Bowl. I don't care.
Yeah. Also, like, and it wasn't even that bad of a question. I think that's what's funny. It's like a downhill linebacker. Like, that's something you hear all the time. Is it correct in the context? I don't know. And
it's
I
like
don't
halftime
care.
adjustments.
Right. Yeah. You're like, most normal coaches in their head, they go, he doesn't know what he's talking about. And then they would go, yeah, you know what? It's great to have Drake Greenlaw back on the field. Anytime you can get a guy like that back on our defense, it can make a huge impact for us. Excited to have him back. Next question. That's what normal coaches do.
He did not want to do that.
You don't know shit. I'm going to let everybody know you don't know shit. And I'm going to say it in a way where nobody actually knows whether I'm joking or not.
You're welcome. Next question.
Yeah.
Z, I think after the amount of vets that are available, I don't think that unless again he's like going to the Cardinals or something like that, or like Cleveland, I could see maybe, but I don't think that there's gonna be a ton of college head coaches coming up this cycle. It doesn't feel like it because there's so many options out there. There's so many coordinators that could like be hired for that next step. Like there's a lot of candidates.
Yeah, like college coaching jumping to the NFL. Is that what the question was?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like the NFL does this thing where they stay away from that. And then they experiment with it again.
Yep.
And it just almost never works. Yeah. Well, who's the last head? Pete Carroll? Is he? Pete Carroll you could say Jim Harbaugh, but Jim Harbaugh was NFL. Then he was college NFL, but he played in the NFL as an NFL quarterback. Like, I don't think that counts.
Yeah.
How many college coaches have come up, true college coaches, and then had a bunch of success in the NFL? There's got to be a couple, but
come on, you got a little Chip Kelly dream team in Philadelphia. Yeah. Come on, it worked out really well, but it's a tough transition.
It is. They're different games. You got Pete Carroll. Who else? Who else is there? Who am I missing, guys?
That's what Lane Kiffin. That's who we need right now.
Urban Meyer.
Oh God,
he was the last.
Oh, Urban Meyer.
Even Nick Saban's like, nah, fuck that. Jimmy Johnson's a good one. There you go, Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah,
and you got to go back. Like Jimmy Johnson, like college and NFL, they were closer in terms of how the game was like called back then. I guess Cliff Kingsbury. Yeah, Cliff Kingsbury could work. Petrino, yeah. Like it does happen. It's not
Jimmy Johnson. If we're citing him too, like it's been a minute. It's been been a while. Oh, the Packers take him. I mean, yeah, we need anybody back there to be a corner. I'll try Perna out there as a lockdown corner. I don't care. This offseason, they need to go and address that secondary because it's pretty horrendous.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of Newsome, like Tyrell Shavers tore his ACL, the Bills receiver. And what I saw people giving Newsome shit for is like Tyrell Shavers was shaking him with a torn ACL during the game. I don't know if any of those plays happened when Shavers had the torn ACL, but that's funny.
Yeah. So who the hell knows, man? Oh, there you go. Look, Perna getting a shout out from the NFL channel again.
Yes. Thank you, guys. I always like it's cool to get tagged in that every time.
Hell yeah.
I was just
did I get tagged in the Packers game? The preview that's coming up this weekend?
Yeah, are you in there, Tom? You get the mention?
Yeah, because we're taking on the Seahawks, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm still not over it.
I know.
Perna, what do you got coming out today, buddy?
Power rankings.
Power rankings.
Got to shoot it. Connor and I will edit it, and it'll be up.
There you go.
What do you got? Nothing?
I put out power rankings. What'd you say?
Just relaxing, taking it easy today, Tom?
I wish. I got power rankings out yesterday, the Tomlin reaction, and also Steelers-Texans reaction yesterday. Today, I got to shoot predictions, so that will be coming out, and I have to work on scripted. I'm pretty sure I can get it out today. Unless news starts breaking again, then I will not be able to get it out today, and I'll unfortunately have to go to Thursday. But I'm going to do everything in my power to get this out today. So we're going to try. We are going to try. So we'll get there. That's it.
Freeman.
Admin always hanging out, baby. Always hanging out. Yeah, no, scripted's a few teams, so I got to do like 14 teams. So it's just going to be a hot minute.
Only way I'll know if the NFL jumps into my chat is if they super chat me.
There you go.
You know? Yeah. I can't keep up during the stream. It is. You better pay up, NFL. I don't care if it's $1.99. My next goal is NFL super chat.
There you go. But only if they could use the NFL credit card.
Yeah.
That'd be fine.
Yes, please. I want Roger Goodell to get a bill that says $1.99 to That's Good Sports. What the fuck is this?
Exactly. Well, folks, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on Friday to preview all those divisional games. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. It is GPS. And you have been navigated.
Much better.